Why do we have fingerprints? Those tiny ridges on our fingertips are unique, but what purpose do they serve? Ever wondered why your fingertips are covered in those swirly ridges? For ages, people thought fingerprints were all about giving us a better grip, like the tread on a tire. A close-up comparison shows that tire treads and fingerprint ridges look similar in function. But if fingerprints really worked like tire treads, they'd help us stick to things, right? A hand tries to grip a smooth vertical surface and slides off. On a smooth surface, fingerprints actually reduce contact area, meaning less friction, so they might make smooth things harder to hold. If not for grip, then what are they for? Clue number 1. Our fingertips are among the most touch-sensitive parts of our body. Animation of a finger sliding over a textured surface. Tiny vibrations travel through the ridges into the skin. Highlight Pacinian corpuscles, onion-like sensors deep in the skin, lighting up when vibrations hit. These corpuscles act like tiny vibration detectives, and the ridges amplify the signal. Experiments. A person with worn-down fingerprints struggles to feel fine sandpaper, while a normal fingerprint detects every grain. Take Braille reading, for instance. The ridges on your fingertips conform to the tiny raised dots, allowing you to feel the pattern with incredible precision. So fingerprints essentially turn your touch into high definition. But wait, there's another superpower. A wet hand tries to pick up a glass. With fingerprints, water channels away through the valleys, leaving dry ridgetops for contact. Without fingerprints, a thin water layer forms, making the glass slippery. Split-screen comparison. It's like tire treads pushing rainwater aside so the rubber meets the road. Same principle on a microscopic scale. Koalas have fingerprints suspiciously similar to ours. They need a good grip on those slippery leaves. Other animals with fingerprints include chimpanzees, who groom each other, and fishers, which climb mossy trunks. So fingerprints likely serve a dual purpose, enhancing touch sensitivity and channeling water for wet grip. But how do we even get these patterns in the first place? At around 10 weeks, volar pads, swellings on the fingertips, start to regress, and the skin buckles into ridges. The exact pattern depends on the timing, stress, and random biochemical chaos, like a crumpled silk sheet. Because development is so unpredictable, even identical twins end up with different fingerprints. That's why your fingerprints are unique, not because evolution needed you to have a personal code. Forensic montage. A detective dusting for prints, then a red X over the idea that uniqueness was the original purpose. Fingerprints first appeared in early primates, as shown by fossilized ridge patterns on ancient bones. Evolutionary trade-off. On rough surfaces, the ridges mechanically interlock, increasing friction. On smooth surfaces, they prioritize sensitivity. On rough bark, fingerprint ridges interlock with grooves for grip. On smooth glass, they barely touch but amplify tiny vibrations, boosting sensitivity. Fingerprints represent an evolutionary compromise. They provide enough grip for climbing ancestors, yet enough sensitivity for fine tool use and foraging. Today, robotics engineers look to fingerprints for inspiration, designing tactile sensors with ridges that can feel texture and detect slip, just like our skin. Thanks to ridged fingertips mimicking our own, robotic hands can now gently pick up delicate objects, like an egg, without crushing it. Let's clear up some myths. Fingerprints are not for cooling us down like radiators, nor for smelling like a nose. Fingertips have other jobs. Ever wonder why fingers wrinkle in water? It's not the fingerprints themselves, but a clever trick of the autonomic nervous system, constricting blood vessels to improve grip on wet surfaces. Fingerprints are incredibly resilient. Even after superficial cuts or abrasions, the ridge pattern can regenerate because it's rooted deep in the dermis. Severe burns may temporarily distort fingerprints, but the original pattern often returns during healing. Only damage that extends too deep into the skin can permanently alter them. Over time, or with heavy manual labor, fingerprint ridges wear down, leading to reduced tactile sensitivity. However, with adequate rest, they can partially recover. Compare an aging hand to a young one. The ridges are flatter, and tactile acuity is diminished. This is why older adults may struggle with fine touch tasks. Today, fingerprints are used for digital security, from unlocking phones to border control. But this raises concerns about privacy and the permanence of our biological data. From enhancing grip to channeling water, from development in the womb to animal analogs, fingerprints are nature's multifunctional masterpiece, unique to every individual. So why do we have fingerprints? To feel the world in high fidelity, to hold on when things get slippery, and a little bit of grip when climbing. They're a beautifully balanced piece of body tech, millions of years in the making. Next time you touch something, give those ridges a silent thank you. For more tiny wonders, hit subscribe and ring that bell. Credits roll, supported by a joyful music track, acknowledging patrons and the team. So you're telling me fingerprints evolved for feeling, not for catching criminals? My career is a lie.